Hello and welcome everyone to the first class held at LVL UP University. My name is Max and I'll be your professor for Bio 101 and, well, because we're a little understaffed, pretty much everything else. Without further ado, let's start with our first class, Bio 101. Today, we'll be looking at dragon anatomy and trying to answer the question, how is it possible for something as big as the Rathalos to fly? Some background information for those of you who don't know. The Rathalos is a creature from the Monster Hunter series, which is an action RPG in which you explore a world and, well, hunt monsters. Each monster acts as a mix of its own level and boss, with its own set of attacks. When a monster is defeated, you can scavenge through its remains and pick up items which can be used to forge new weapons and armor. You can use these new weapons and armors to fight bigger, stronger monsters. This is an oversimplification of the game, and if you haven't played it, you definitely should. The Rathalos is one of the big baddies of the Monster Hunter world. It's a winged dragon that stands on two legs and has a barbed tail. This is also known as a wyvern. It is one of the staple monsters of the Monster Hunter series, and it made its debut in 2004 in the first Monster Hunter game. It was actually the monster on the cover. There are multiple variations of this beast, but today I'll just be focusing on the regular OG. The Rathalos has a hard shell which is red in color, unlike its female counterpart, the Rathian. It attacks with fire along with massive talons. The Rathalos also uses its barbed tail to cause damage. The tail has the ability to poison the player if he or she was struck with it. The in-game descriptions of the Monster Hunter series describe the Rathalos as a fierce aerial predator. In Monster Hunter 4, they are given the nickname King of the Skies. It makes it a little awkward to know that I slaughter royalty just to get a bunch of drops for some sweet armor. Oh well. Being King of the Skies, it's no surprise that it loves to fly. But this really shouldn't be possible. Being such a large dragon with thick armor, it would be pretty hard to fly. However, using some animal biology, I think I can show how it may be possible for the Rathalos to fly. Let's begin with the wings. Wings are important to flight. Nothing new. But different animals have different kinds of wings. For simplicity's sake, let's say there are three types of wings: insect wings, bat wings, and bird wings. With a quick glance, it's obvious to see that it does not have insect wings. And while it would be just as easy to rule out bird wings and say, well, it doesn't have feathers, so it's obviously not a bird wing. And while you would be right, it's not a bird wing, that's not the right way to science. So if we remove the fleshy parts and observe the bones of both birds and bats, we can see that the Rathalos' wings share more similarities to the wings of a bat than that of a bird, as both bat and Rathalo wings closely resemble a hand. In fact, even our own arms are more closely related to a bat's than you might think. As you can see in this picture, humans share the same bones as both bats and birds. We all have similar arm bones, such as the humerus, radius, and ulna. However, humans and bats also have extremely similar carpals, metacarpals, and phalanges, or hand bones. If you were to hold your arms out at your sides, with your elbows bent, and spread your fingers, and imagine that there was a thin membrane known as a patagium in between your fingers, you would not be far off from having bat wings. Bats just have larger hands, which look like wings instead of looking like a sea creature rocking some jazz hands. And I'm sure you're thinking, well, great. You can tell me it has bat wings, whoop-de-doo. Next you're going to tell me it has pointed teeth that are sharp like a T-Rex's too. Well, my impatient student, the reason I'm pointing out this seemingly obvious trait is because having bat wings has a lot of significant advantages that bird wings just don't. And to show these advantages and how they relate to our Rathalos, we have to look at a bat wing structure. Birds have a rather fixed and simple movement of their wings. This is because they have a large breastbone with a growth on it known as a keel, or carina. This growth is where large chest muscles attach to. Bats do not have this large breastbone like birds do, and also lack the carina. This means that bats do not have those same large pectoral muscles that birds do. A bird uses two main muscles to move the wings up and down. This is because of that large breastbone that allows them to grow really big and large pec muscles. Because bats do not have access to this, they have to use 8. Birds have a simple up and down movement of their wings, while a bat rotates its shoulder blades side to side as they move their wings, almost like swimming through the air. The use of all of these muscles in conjunction with their hand-like wings gives bats an amazing precision in the air. While the rigid wing of a bird is more efficient at providing lift, they are always fixed and are always in a line mirror image of each other. In other words, they need to flap both wings at the same time. A bat can use their finger-like wings and nearly 20 joints to manipulate each hand separately. This gives them the freedom to change the degree and direction of their flight pattern in a pinch, allowing them to maneuver and dive in the air, which is shown by the Rathalos' dive attack. These wings would also allow the Rathalos to hover efficiently, as well as change their direction up to 10 times faster than a bird, and would allow them to dart around in a bunch of angles and speeds, which would rightfully give them the nickname King of the Skies. Now that we've decided on the structure for the wings, we can move on to other aspects of our Rathalos blueprint. The wings of a Rathalos may give it a distinct advantage in the air by helping it move more swiftly, but that won't really help if it's weighed down by its thick and heavy bones. In order for the Rathalos to get around this problem, it would most likely need to have hollow bones through a process known as pneumatization. Pneumatization is the formation of air cavities in tissues, like bones. This is seen in birds, which are born with air sacs, some at the front and some at the back. These air sacs form part of the bird's circulatory system, and as a baby bird grows, the air sacs form a system of tubes and outgrowths that invade and pneumatize the bird's bones, making them hollow. Pneumatization gives birds a skeleton that is both light and strong, which would reduce the overall weight for our Rathalos. However, the weight can be further decreased by filling the hollow bones with a gas that's lighter than air. There are some good options such as helium and hydrogen, but the best candidate would have to be methane, which is one of the lovely gases that makes our tooth smell. This gas would be readily available because of the Rathalos' meaty diet. It's also flammable, which would help explain the Rathalos' fire breathing. Additionally, methane is half as light as air. And, while it may seem silly to think that this would apply to something as large as a dragon, there are examples of this happening in dinosaurs. For example, some studies have shown that up to 10% of a T-Rex's body volume may have been made up of inflatable airspace. An even better example was a dinosaur known as the Quetzalcoatlus, a gigantic pterosaur or flying dinosaur, who while on the ground was as tall as a giraffe, and whose wingspan could reach up to 35 feet. To put that into perspective, that's the size of 3 cars parked bumper to bumper. And through the use of some extra imaging, scientists found how it was possible for this behemoth to fly. They discovered that the Quetzalcoatlus' bones were not only hollow like our Rathalos, but that the hollowness allowed their bones to grow larger in diameter, which made them strong. They also had growths in their bones, which were similar to support beams in a building like a cathedral, which would prevent walls from collapsing in. These growths were found in strategic places where bones needed to be reinforced, creating a push from the inside to prevent the bone from collapsing in. Now, while air sacs are more useful for putting holes in a creature's bones than osteoporosis is in Grandma Gertrude, they do serve another important function. Flight may seem possible with semi-hollow bones filled with methane, and having large and efficient wings. However, we have to take the Rathalos' armor into consideration. That's where the air sacs would come into play. Some of these air sacs would be filled with methane, others with oxygen or hot air. Their air sacs would help the wyvern rise by expanding and filling up with gas, and would aid in descending by releasing some of this gas. Kinda like a hot air balloon, with spikes, that has giant wings, and talons, and breathes fire. So basically the most metal hot air balloon you'll ever see. One final way that we can help out our Death Zeppelin fly is by employing a weird and ingenious tactic that some birds have evolved. In order to make themselves lighter, in addition to hollowing out their bones, some birds keep their reproductive organs small for most of the year and enlarge them only during the breeding season. Perhaps only young dragons are able to fly in order to disperse themselves, so we may only be fighting teen Rathalos this whole time while mom and dad are somewhere else unable to fly. It's possible that an adult dragon can retain their wings, but only for display and not for flight. Well, there's the bell. So, what did you think about this simple introduction to the biology of a dragon? Would you like a deeper analysis in the future? Also, if you like what you saw, maybe leave a like or subscribe. That'll let me know that I did a good job. And if not, let me know what I can improve on by leaving a suggestion in the comments, or give me any other suggestions on which other creatures you'd like me to cover in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.